Hello, and we're live with episode 7 of The Dead Within. You see what I did there? It used to be called The Dead of Winter, but we've changed the name to The Dead Within. As is the way with playtesting campaigns and books and things, is one of the things that sometimes gets changed is the name, and we decided that The Dead Within is cooler, so we're going with The Dead Within. So henceforth, this is the Dead Within campaign, and you are now watching episode 7. So thanks for watching. And joining me tonight, we have Lynne. Hello, Lynne.
Hello.
Hello, Jema.
Hello.
Hello, Jayson.
Good evening.
And we don't have Becky tonight, who unfortunately is not feeling too good. So Becky is not joining us tonight, but that's okay. Because last week, indeed last episode, Eleanor, Becky's character, drank quite a lot of vodka, if you were watching last time. And so, unfortunately, today, Eleanor is recovering with a very bad hangover in her hotel room for most of the day, hence the absence. So there you go. So we have a little bit of a recap of what you did last time. So who was the volunteer for this time?
Okay, Lynne,
take it away. Take it away.
Having sworn I wasn't going to write copious quantities of notes for this playtest, I lied to myself. So basically last week, we started on the train where Eleanor and Oksana were finishing off translating that terrifying poem thing that seems to be some sort of summoning ritual. And it was blathering on all about John Dee and various shame and goodness knows what. Yes, something very unsettling about that whole thing. Uncle Harry and Maxime's friend turned up to try and convince us that it would be a really good idea to use this ritual, despite Robert, Georgina's fiance, saying that it probably wasn't a very good idea for us to use this ritual at any point in time. So after we got to Moscow, we were ensconced in the Savoy Hotel, which was all very nice, and we got to meet our latest concierge, Alexander, stepping into Yevgeny's more than capable shoes, and we headed off to see Mrs. Palliser. And unfortunately, the slight problem of just who comes back from the dead was really brought home to us, because when we arrived at her flat, her late husband, a total brute of a man, had come back and was basically terrorizing her. Now, everything got a little bit fraught. Maxime got a little bit confused, shall we say, to put it charitably, and started having a go at us, while Georgina was trying to get Mrs. Palliser out of the place and into safety. But Eleanor, quite thinking fast on her feet, actually started to recite this terrible poem, and it worked. It seemed to banish the dreadful late husband, and he's gone, we don't know how permanently for. So that kind of underlined the little bit at the end of the translation about the fact that not only could it be used to call Uber, it could also be used to bar it. Which, all things considered, probably not a bad idea. Unfortunately for poor Eleanor, who'd been very, very keen on using this to bring her brother Mark back, the stark reality of the fact that it wasn't just going to be good people who came back from the dead settled in, hence the drinking spree. So that's why, unfortunately, she's got something of a terrible hangover today, because she's really not quite used to all that alcohol. Mr. Weston also turned up. So at the moment, we're currently bargaining with Mr. Weston for papers for Oksana and Sophie to get them out of Russia in exchange for information about John Palliser. Now, Georgina actually has a letter from John Palliser to his wife, not that we've let on to Mr. Weston that we actually have it at the moment, because we're trying to hold that as a bargaining chip. And everything kind of ended pretty much as we were hatching some sort of plan to maybe get Laskin and Oksana hitched, so once we've gone back to Britain, we can help them defect nice and safely away from this terrible communist regime. And everybody else thinks I'm
Very
berserk
good.
for thinking that, we should play matchmaker while we're at it.
Very
I
good.
think it's an
So
adorable plan.
we kind of kick it off on your second day, full day in Moscow, which is day 11 of your trip, which is the 6th of November. You know that the 7th of November, tomorrow, is the big 7th of October, 7th of November Soviet, celebrations and festival, all taking place across Red Square in Moscow and around the country. So lots of crowds and things happening. And today you have indeed a tour of the Red Square and a chance to go and see the tomb of Lenin. And the afternoon is a visit to the Kremlin. And the evening, quite excitingly, is an experimental play. So who knows what joy that will bring.
Lovely.
You also have a few other things off agenda, I think, yet to do. I think there was the trying to find and check out Krylov's room in Moscow, where apparently a glyph or symbol you need for this ritual may be. And I think you have another meeting with Mr. Weston to follow up on what he's found and what. Following up on the meeting you had with Nadezhda Palliser, kind of reporting back to him in that regard. So they're your two things you probably want to do as well. So there you are. So how do you? When would you like to? When do you want to kind of tackle the Krylov thing and see Weston? Weston's staying in the same hotel as you. You know where he is. Yeah. You can go and see him anytime you like, more or less. It really depends on whether you want to, sneak away during the day or you want to miss experimental theatre tonight. I don't know. It's entirely up to you.
Can't miss the experimental theatre. That's the highlight of this.
I can. Hey, you wouldn't let me stay and listen to the choir. I am not going to experimental theatre.
But who knows what kind of needy actresses we may pick up there.
Probably best not to let Maxime go because he's already got quite an entourage.
For goodness sake.
I think that we should probably, Weston will keep people off our backs maybe because he thinks that we're going to go and visit Mrs. Palliser again in order to get information. So if we were to go to Krylov's, is Krylov's anywhere near Mrs. Palliser's? Could we kind of just drop in to make sure she's okay on the way?
It's not really. It's not really. I mean, you could make it on your way, but it's not technically in the same kind of suburb of Moscow.
I think I'd quite like to check up on Mrs. Palliser and just make sure that, just see if the thing, her husband has stayed away. It'd be nice to know.
Yeah.
We know how to get rid of him this time. Let's face it, there's only really you that hasn't learnt the spell.
Yes. I just gives me the creeps. Just saying.
It's understandable. Oh yeah, and the other thing is, we do need to be careful because at least one version of Krylov attempted to kill me when we were in Leningrad.
Yes, my main concerns about Krylov is ensuring that he's not there, or at least not particularly alert, or perhaps he's sleeping when we do show up.
So what you're saying is maybe sneak out tonight and go and have a look when he's asleep? Or do you think going during the day when he's more likely to be at work?
Well, you do have you have the address that it's the house of the Soviets, I believe.
I think so.
Let me have a look. Yes, so the second house of the Soviets, which is
Theatre Square.
It's actually a 5-minute walk from the Savoy Hotel. so it's actually kind of more or less in the center of Moscow. So this is a presumably some sort of administrative or public building of some kind. I mean, obviously, if you want to ask Laskin or anyone else, they can probably tell you a little bit more. But you know, your guess would be that it's going to be around something like that.
And that's somewhere where he's likely to actually live, or just somewhere he's likely to work?
Probably work more than live, you'd guess. You know.
Mm.
He seems awfully civilized for a raging madman, working in the day and sleeping at night.
We don't know that he is a raging madman yet.
Well,
I mean, one version of him obviously is, because he tried to throttle me, but
and
the
that,
version
yes.
would he have any reason to want to meet us?
well, presumably this ritual that we've got.
Yeah, well, we don't really want to tell him about that, do we?
He signed your visa papers, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if I could, if one of us invited him for a drink at the Savoy, then the others could raid his office. And whoever was having a drink with him could kind of pump him for information whilst the others did the breaking and entering.
So is that you volunteering to play the femme fatale there by any chance?
I can, you know, again, it's a nice public place, so I wouldn't, you know, I'd be up for kind of having a drink in the Savoy where there are plenty of people and a nice barman. I mean, he's not going to, I don't know what he might do, but he's unlikely to kind of start raging and doing any magic in the middle of the Savoy. They don't hold with that sort of thing.
Having said that, Georgina, it might be worth having someone like Oksana watching from a distance.
Yeah, I mean, I know Oksana is always ready to go and have a cocktail anywhere.
This is true.
But yeah, so maybe if Oksana was sort of came with me just in case of any trouble and could alert.
I'm not sure that's necessarily good for her safety, to be honest, to be clearly seen.
Hence why I suggested from a distance.
Yeah. I mean, she's a ballerina. She goes places. She loiters in bars. She's probably got a friend she could have a cocktail with if we gave her.
Oh, yes, that plan of yours. Oh,
yeah, I'm not sure that Laskin and Krylov are necessarily a great eye line to be having, though.
No, you misunderstand. Oksana could be at the bar having a drink with Laskin.
But doesn't Laskin know Krylov?
Oh, I'm not sure, actually.
Would Krylov know Laskin?
Perhaps.
The only time you've... Sorry, I was just going to say, the only time you think you've met Krylov is when he appeared from nowhere and attacked Francis in a very demented fashion and then disappeared again.
All right, then let's invite, Laskin to, and I think this is a terrible idea and it's going to go horribly wrong, Francis. But let's give it a whirl, eh? You never know.
Exactly.
Love, true love.
Precisely.
It happens. What's the plan? Sorry, I'm just catching up.
Francis wants to set Laskin up.
Okay. This is the conversation over breakfast, I'm guessing, is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the general idea from sort of like the as far as I understand it is we're going to invite Krylov for drinkies with Georgina at the Savoy.
Mm-hmm.
To say thank you for passing the visa.
Yeah,
Okay.
But we're going to sort of get Laskin and Oksana somewhere in the bar together, ostensibly to be keeping an eye on Georgina to make sure she's safe.
Right.
So partly to sort of do the whole matchmaking thing.
Okay.
While myself and Maxime sneak off to Krylov's place and try and, find out what this glyph is.
Okay.
And
Okay.
rifle through. Yeah.
Indeed.
So what's your plan on
Well, Laskin
inviting,
seems quite
contacting
nice.
Krylov in that way?
Laskin seems quite nice, and he's already said that he will sort of help us and turn a blind eye, hasn't he? So I think I'll go directly to him and Oksana and say, I'm going to be meeting Krylov, but he might be, I don't know, he's quite important. He might be a bit weird. Will you come with me and maintain a discreet distance?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So I just knocked my camera.
But contacting Krylov, I don't know.
Couldn't we get the hotel to do that?
We could. Or we could ask Popov's new friendly brick outhouse to pass on a message.
Ivan.
Seeing as he's
I think it's
OGPU.
Ivanov.
Oh, Ivanov. Oh, we didn't know what his name was last week.
Ivanov. Well, you'll find out because Laskin will mention his name at the breakfast as you see him, coming in at some point with Popov.
Right. Yes, we could either ask the hotel to do it or we could ask Ivanov to do it.
Both seem fairly anonymous to me, so.
Yeah. I mean, Ivanov is fine. It's just a very innocuous, thank you so much for signing our visas. Come and have brunch in the Savoy.
Are you sure we want to do it in the morning or should we do it in the evening so the offices are likely to be a bit quieter?
I'd go for the morning when it's actually light and not spooky.
That's a fair point, actually, yes.
Just saying.
Yeah, let's do that. Yes, I suppose there's less shadows for things to be hiding in.
All right. Morning it is.
Yeah.
Okay, so this morning or tomorrow morning?
Yeah.
This morning.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
So
if you can make it, hopefully.
So who's gonna go and approach Ivanov and say, could you get a message to Krylov?
Should I do that and use my charms?
Yes, I would definitely say that.
Okay.
Right.
So Georgina's going to do that.
I shall write a little note and
who's going to speak to Oksana?
Maxime.
So Maxime's going to speak to Oksana.
I was here anyway, but okay. I'll pay a visit.
And who's speaking to Laskin?
Me. I shall go and speak.
Okay. So, Oksana is probably the easiest to get hold of because you know where she is. So Maxime, she was down having breakfast early, but she returned to her room because you lot were gabbling on about all sorts of things, and she wanted to go and get ready for the day. So you find her in her room.
Hello, Oksana. It's Maxime. Are you available?
Oh yes. Please come in, Maxime. Please, yes.
I just take a little look down the corridor before going in. Sorry to bother you so early. It's only a quick thing, but I was hoping that.
Oh, I'm so glad you came. I wanted to speak to you too.
Oh, right, okay.
There's something that's been on my mind. I've hardly slept all night. I was going to raise it at breakfast, but I found that you weren't alone, and I needed to speak to you alone about this. It's so important.
All right. Well, you go first.
What I say must be said, and I hope you understand. But basically, I over this last few days coming to know you, I find that my heart yearns for you, and that I feel I have to let you know my feelings for you. I cannot go on not saying how I feel to you.
You can see, she can see Maxime's lip trembling a little bit. Do you know, I had a feeling that you were going to say something like that. I have noticed.
Oh, good. So you feel that too, then?
Well, it's the thing. You know that I have a wife at home, whom I love very much.
She kind of does a kind of smirk, not very happy looking smirk, but yes,
I'm
of course.
very flattered by how you feel about me, and if if things were different, then perhaps I would come to know you more. But I'm afraid that I feel like I can confide in you as a person and a friend, but I'm afraid that's all.
She starts to cry and sob and going, "Oh, I knew it was a foolish whim, a foolish idea to throw my heart to a person such as you. I thought maybe you were here because your wife, you and your wife were estranged and parted, and that is why she wasn't here with you, and you were looking to start afresh in here with me. You have broken my heart, Maxime, and I. Oh, what shall I do? I must return. I will return to Leningrad. I will dance through the pain, and I will dance and dance. She starts going on about saying that she will,
Well, look,
there is nothing for her in Moscow. There is nothing for her in Moscow now, so she will return to Leningrad.
Well, look, things aren't as simple as you may think, and I've not really talked to anybody about this before, and it's a very difficult, complicated thing. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I can confide in you. I don't know. I'm very confused, Oksana.
Yes, you seem to be, she says, sobbing. But if you do not want me, then what is said has been said, and we should say no more, and we should both go our separate ways, for the pain would be too much otherwise.
Well, it depends if you still want to come to England. Do you wish to?
That was a dream I cast upon the wind, and yet you have battened it down like a stormy gale, and this is the dream has gone, and all it is left is the reality of the day. I am heartbroken, Maxime.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to insinuate such a thing with you. I never wanted to.
I forgive you, but you understand I cannot be with you now.
Well, we weren't really with ourselves to begin with, if I'm honest, but I understand what you mean. Now, I don't know if this next thing I was going to ask you has particular merit now, considering what you just told me. But I was hoping that you could help me and my friends, just for one more day.
One more day of the pain building in me? One more day? For you? I'm like, but one more day, then it would be your last request, and I would honor it.
This is a matter of life or death, Oksana. This is more than any feelings you might have for me.
Then it must be done. Never let it be said that Oksana, whatever my surname is, would let a friend down.
Well, I'm very pleased you would see it that way, and I'm more than happy to, reimburse you for any travel back to Leningrad.
Well, of course, I expected no less from you.
He sort of gives a slight, tension to the lip, but right. So, what it is, Francis and I need to visit somebody this morning. He's a very important man. He is somebody who is apparently expecting us. But we also want to ensure that we can look into him a bit more without him knowing that we're doing this. We're not quite so trustworthy of him, if you get my meaning.
Yes.
So,
he's a Bolshevik, is he? An untrustworthy one?
Yes, he is a Bolshevik. So what we plan to do is invite him here to the hotel, where Georgina will simply have a chit chat, a few drinks, and Francis and I will go and make sure everything checks out with him. But what we want to make sure is that Georgina is safe.
You wish me to keep my eye on Georgina, you mean?
Absolutely. All you would have to do is stay in the bar, have a few drinks yourself. There's another man, Laskin, who we can sort of set
Oh,
you
your
up
tour
with,
guide.
blend in a little bit more. Yes, blend in a little bit
You
more.
wish me
so
to
you're not by
talk to this
yourself.
Laskin?
Only if you want.
He is in on your little charade.
Well, he will be by the time Francis gets hold of him, yes.
I see. Very well, I will do this one last thing for you.
Thank you, Oksana.
Okay.
It means a lot.
She says, leave me now, leave me now. Let me to alone to my pain as you exit the door. Meanwhile,
You enjoyed that far too much.
Laskin is hanging around the lobby, arranging last-minute things for the tour around Red Square this morning and making sure you got your tickets to see Lenin's dead body in the middle of it, all that kind of thing.
Hello there, Laskin. I was just wondering if I could have a quick word with you.
Certainly. I expect you're I bet you're looking forward to the visit to Red Square and the Kremlin today, no doubt.
Yes. Now I've got a little bit of business I need to take care of. Could you just come over here and have a quiet word? Somewhere where there's less ears.
Of course. He kind of filters over and says, "Is it about the experimental play? You don't have to go if you don't want to."
I wasn't going to. I mean, don't tell Miss Sullivan. She's getting quite excited about it, but it's not the thing.
Yes.
No, it's about something else.
Not everyone's taste.
No, but you said how you would be quite happy to help us if we needed any help.
Yes.
Yes. Well, Miss Sullivan has a meeting this morning with that Mr. Krylov. She's invited him here to say, thank you for the signing of visas and everything. But obviously not knowing the man, I'm a little bit concerned. And I don't suppose it would be possible for you to just sort of like hang around and keep an eye on her from a distance, just to make sure she's all right. Obviously, powerful man, young lady abroad.
What time is the meeting? Because I'm taking the guests to Red Square with Popov and Ivanov this morning. I won't be able to be at the hotel for long. Maybe I could pop back at lunchtime very quickly if that's when the meeting is. But I've got my day job to do.
Yes, we'll make sure the meeting's at lunchtime. Yes.
Well, if that's the case, then I will do my best to return here. Is this meeting, how you say, clandestine?
Yes, that's probably the best way.
I shouldn't be mentioning it to Popov.
Definitely not. No. Definitely not.
Well, I did promise to help you in this matter, and I will do my best to ensure that Popov and Ivanov are elsewhere at this time.
Yes, and Maxime's asking, just so that it doesn't look too obvious that you're hanging around keeping an eye on things, Maxime's gone to ask his ballerina friend to sort of like meet
Miss
you
Oksana.
Yes. To meet you in the bar so that you can have a bit of a chat and it looks a little bit less suspicious, obviously. But
I understand.
Both keep an eye on Georgina and Sullivan.
I understand. That is very wise. Very good. Yes, well, I will be back here at lunchtime then.
Excellent, thank you.
Not a problem, he says, smiling.
Oh, what a tangled web, etc.
Meanwhile, Georgina, who are you speaking to? You're going to go and speak to Ivanov or Popov or somebody?
Yeah, I'm going to go. I'm going to give Ivanov a nice little note, beautifully handwritten, to deliver to Krylov, inviting him for a sort of an early luncheon at the Savoy.
And are you kind of putting? I'm just thinking of how you're addressing the envelope. Is it to Mr. Krylov at the Second House of Soviets or something else?
Well, yeah, rather than magician Krylov.
Scary wizard dude. He tried to kill one of us.
Scary wizard Krylov.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Because I think his signature on the visa, it doesn't write out his first name. I think it begins with I think you can make out probably begins with I think it's a K or an A. I'm just double checking.
Okay.
An A. So it could be anything.
All right. Well, Mr. A. Krylov. Yeah. And the rest of the address.
Okay.
I'm going to keep it fairly light. I'm not going to say, because you're dodgy and will want to talk magic things.
We know what you're up to. Come and meet me at the Savoy lunchtime.
That kind of thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
No, not going to say
that. Okay. But you do put your full name and the hotel address, well, the hotel name on there, don't you? Obviously, to find you.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, not like
are we staying at
anyway,
Savoy?
but we are, yeah.
Yeah. No,
yeah.
That's certainly. And if he didn't, he certainly will now. So, so you hand this to Ivanov. You hand it to Ivanov, and with the kind of express, that could he possibly get this delivered to the Second House of Soviets and into Krylov's hands ASAP, I guess.
Yeah. And some rubles for a cab fare.
And
obviously.
some rubles. Okay. Would you like to accentuate the demand with a charm or a persuade?
Yeah.
Or
I'll go for a charm. I don't have masses of charm, but you never know. Yeah, I'm not terrifically charming, but I will give him cash.
Okay, well, he takes the cash, he smiles, and it's almost like you're trying to be charming. You know you're not doing very well, but he seems to be affected by it. He seems to be smiling and going, "Oh, of course. Yes, I have to say I do not know this Krylov personally, but I'm sure he is in good standing with the party, and I will get this letter to him this morning. I will make sure of that. And yes, of course, I'd be happy to do this for you," he says, without smiling one bit. But his eyes are gleaming. There's a twinkle there, and he takes the letter out of your hand and turns and walks out of the hotel.
Okay. Well, we'll just have to hope that Krylov turns up then.
Okay. Okay, so you then are you going to go into Red Square this morning just to pass a few hours before you get back for lunchtime, that kind of thing?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you pop back, get your coats on. It's a bit colder in Moscow, as I said before, and join the group. Popov and Laskin are there, leading people out, and as you are filtering down the street towards Red Square, Ivanov appears, coming in the opposite direction to join the group. You can see Popov looks a bit angry, and like you see a conversation that you don't need to hear that kind of basically says, "Where have you been?" And Ivanov kind of says something to him you don't catch. There's a brief conversation at the head of the group. Laskin's at the rear of the group. You're kind of in the middle towards the end. And then Ivanov comes down to Georgina with the letter and gives it to you back and says, "I'm afraid I wasn't able to pass the letter on to Mr. Krylov, Comrade Krylov. He is not in Moscow, I've been informed. He is away at this time and is not available. I'm very sorry. but your meeting won't be possible. And he kind of gives you the letter perfunctorily and kind of heads back towards the front of the line to lead the group in with Popov. You notice clearly the letter has been opened and resealed.
Okay. Oh, what a shame. I shall confab with these two then.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I think we should still go for it.
Do you think he actually is here and just doesn't want to meet me, or think something's up, or do you think he didn't deliver it at all?
I think any and all of those are entirely possible. But we do need to get a look into his rooms, offices, whatever. So we might as well just go for it, to be quite honest.
Well, what do you think, Maxime? Do you think dead of night is a better idea now?
Yes, we could maybe take a detour after the play since you want to go.
I
I'll
would
meet
rather
you there
like
after the
see
play.
I'm going to throw this in. If you want to go tonight, that's cool. But obviously, in the middle of the day, as you get onto the streets of Moscow, there are many, many people. It's big festival season in Moscow. People are all gathering for the big day tomorrow. But obviously, as the routes into Red Square are packed and crowded, there's a lot of people coming and going. And clearly, it's a busy time for everything and everywhere. So I'm going to say the thought does cross your mind that if you wanted to slip away without being seen in the hustle and bustle and enter a public building that presumably is hustling and bustling as well, it might be easier to do that than in the dead of night when no one's there and there are guards. Clearly, it's going to be. You're not stupid enough to know that they wouldn't be guards.
The
there.
keeper is hinting heavily, so I think
Yes.
I'm just saying,
We've had an
you
idea.
can do whichever you like, but I am just saying, you would see, you would look around you and think there would be the voice in your head saying, perhaps now would be better, or this afternoon than tonight. Don't know, but your choice.
Go on then. Let's
do it.
Maxime,
So,
you look a little down. Are you all right?
Let's just say that Francis's idea isn't going to work.
Oh,
really? Why not?
With the Shakespearean love sequence that you were thinking of.
Oh dear. Oh, right. Okay.
Not that we're going to do that
Sophia
anyway,
in the
but,
hotel. I presume you've left Sophia in the hotel.
Yeah,
we have for now. Yeah, this is potentially dangerous.
Okay, well maybe her and Eleanor are. Well, she'll look in on Eleanor later just to make sure she's doing okay. Okay. You kind of go through the streets of Moscow towards Red Square. It's hustling, bustling, as I say. You find that you actually pass the second house of the Soviets on the way into Red Square. It's not far from the hotel, in fact. So you can kind of get a look at it. And that's maybe when the idea crosses your mind that maybe now's a good time, because there are literally people coming and going into that place all the time. Clearly, some are dressed in like uniforms, some are, but many people are not. So whether they're party officials or admin staff or people, Joe Public going in to do something inside, it's clearly kind of a public building of some parts, at least, certainly the ground floor. So that may give you the idea. It's in the southeast corner of Theatre Square, abutting Revolution Square. And it's a 5-story building, massive, very kind of, classic kind of, Soviet style in that way. You can certainly mingle around the edge of Red Square, lose your tour group and work your way back. If you all want to do that, or whether it's just one or two of you, it's entirely up to you.
Well, let's all.
Yeah.
Let's gradually filter our way to the back. And then
Yeah,
I can
okay.
keep lookout at least for these two while they rummage.
Okay. Do you remember the room number that Golovin said was you needed to go to?
Did I write it down?
Oh,
Room 500.
Somewhere.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. So, is there a cunning plan? Are you just going to walk in and, or is there anything you actually want to do?
The best disguise is confidence. So we need to walk in there like we should be there and that we own it. So,
okay.
No doubts. We have every right to be here. Bravado,
Okay.
everyone.
Okay, that sounds great.
Okay.
As I say, there's a steady stream of people, men and women, in various sort of types of dress, coming and going into and out of this building, out the main front doors. So you just sort of, follow on in, basically. Once you get inside, you can see that there's mosaic murals decorating the lobby areas and around it, quite, Art Nouveau architecture inside. And you see that actually this used to be the Metropole Hotel.
Okay.
But as you say, you kind of wander in, and can I have a spot hidden roll, please?
Oh. Improved
No,
spot
you
hidden
can't.
roll. Yes, just passed.
Okay.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You see a stair. You see, there's a number of stairwells going up, and there's a couple of lifts as well. The lifts are pretty busy. A lot of people hanging around, coming in and off. But you notice there's a couple of main stairwells, which again are quite busy. But there's another stairwell kind of around the side of the lifts, maybe more of a, like a fire escape staircase. But it seems like a public one. But that just seems a bit less busy. It's whether you want to kind of go the quiet route or just want to carry on under cover of the crowd. Really, it's which you kind of prefer to take, or you can get in a lift, but they are busy.
I'm following Francis's lead on this. He's the sleuth.
I think we go for hiding in the crowd. So let's go up the main stairs.
Okay. You seem to be amongst like a thick kind of agglomeration of bureaucrats and members of the party and delegates and so on. You hear Russian obviously being spoken, but you would catch French and German as well, and even a bit of English on one occasion. So it appears that there are dignitaries or visitors from other countries in this building all here for the celebrations. So again, that may give you confidence in terms of not feeling necessarily out of place if somebody stops you, I guess. But you kind of head up the stairs, and there are the interior of the various kind of floors as you go up is pretty opulent and beautiful decorations with a lot of Russian painters, and the floors are richly carpeted and gilt frame paintings and so on and so forth. It starts to get quieter as you start to go up from level 3 onwards. People kind of, you would guess that maybe the first couple of floors are more kind of admin and public kind of rooms in that way, and maybe they are accommodation apartments as it used to be a hotel further up. And it's certainly pretty quiet by the time you get to the 4th stairwell. But at that point, just before you start heading up to the 5th, you see a lady with her arms full of papers is running down to the 4th floor, arms full of papers, and isn't really looking. It's more like a whirlwind coming down the stairs, and kind of, as you kind of appear, she appears, and she's clearly gonna either fall over herself or fall into one of you, unless you kind of move out of the way rapidly or something, unless you want to knock her over.
Attempt to get out of the way, although this could go spectacularly wrong.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Given the way my
Okay.
dice are rolling tonight.
Okay, so who has got the lowest dodge out of all of you?
I have
Mine's
32.
17.
40.
Okay, so Francis, it is you. Georgina and Maxime nimbly kind of sidestep to the side, and the last second, Francis looks at, and whether you stand out of the way or not.
No, oh God, I'm changing. What is it with these dice? Every time I try to use the dice, the first dice out of the bag are just appallingly awful, right? So you're getting binned. Right, now that would be a big no.
Okay, so she just barrels into you, you collide, and she just drops a lot around, both of your feet.
In
What do you
Russian,
do?
I apologise profusely
Okay, can I have a
and help
Russian
her pick
roll?
the papers up.
Can I have a
Come
Russian
on,
roll
new
as
dice.
it's in the moment?
Come on,
and
new dice.
Slightly tense.
Oh, that would be no. I kind of just
So
get tongue-tied
you
and stumble
garble
over
something
it.
in that you think is Russian that she doesn't comprehend and just looks at you like, starkly perplexed and you just hear her going, what, in Russian. And she starts to grab up papers, but her cheeks are all red. She's clearly embarrassed. She doesn't know who you are, and is gathering up the papers.
I'll try and help her.
You're helping her. The two of you, do you stop to help or do you just carry
Oh
on?
yeah, definitely stop to help.
Okay, you're gathering up the papers. It doesn't take a couple of minutes, but you kind of clearly have a quick shuffle at the papers. Anyone who's got any read Russian, that good enough skill in to read?
Well, I mean, technically, I've got a good enough
potentially,
skill
yeah.
to speak it. Just my dice don't agree with me.
No, that's fine.
I've got over 50,
No.
so
Yeah, no, that's okay. So you
Yes,
will kind
20. That was
you
a
can
hard success.
catch a few things, but I think, Francis, as you've not, it's only a newly acquired language to some degree that you're in the moment just got it wrong. But you see that there seem to be minutes of meetings and something to do with the Central Board of Technical Education. So it's hardly, state secrets and riveting stuff. But she's soon back on her way down the stairs and, pays you no further mind. And you are free to head up to the 5th floor. You do notice at the top, you see them before they see you, but standing just inside the door, on the other side of the door from the stairwell, you see a couple of blokes with their backs to the door. There's a window in the door kind of thing, and you can see there's two blokes basically, well, you'd probably say guarding the door, or stood certainly in front of the door that you want to go through.
Hmm.
Did you say they were on our side, or on the other side of the door?
No, they're on the other side of the door from you,
Okay,
so you'd be going up. They're standing
Yeah.
in the hallway on the 5th floor.
Hmm.
They're in suits.
Does this mean that a diversion is needed of some sort?
Yes, I imagine so.
Mm-hmm. Or perhaps we go and find that other staircase now.
What happens in this building? What other things go on? Is it just like government stuff?
It seems to be government stuff. Certainly that would be Georgina's perception of it.
Right. I'm trying to think what I could possibly say helped me find how I don't seem to be in the right department for whatever. I don't know.
It could be agricultural affairs, justice, any Soviet-sounding government department in theory.
Well, if you guys sort of lag behind and I sort of march in, if they stop me, I can sort of keep them in conversation and ask them to show me to the Department of Education.
All right.
Yes, because we know that's where she's come from.
Exactly, which is downstairs, presumably. Maybe we know they've got one, and then you can
Even if it's on this floor, you've
Yeah.
at least got a legitimate reason for being on that floor if that's what you're looking for.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
All right.
so you two
I'm
help.
going to try that.
Okay, so you, so
I'm
do
just
you,
going to
how
open
do
the
you
door.
open the door into them, kind of thing, and
Yeah.
let them move out of the way? Okay, they turn and say good day in Russian.
Yeah. Wonderful. Right, just home and dry then. She'll start looking for Krylov's office if they're not going to stop me.
Well, they one of them, as you walking off, one of them does say, is can I help you? Are you looking for anything in particular?
Oh, yes, in my rather painful Russian, that is reasonable but painful, I shall say, oh yes, I was looking for the Department of Education. Is that on this? That is on this floor.
Yeah, the under secretary for the Department of Education is on this floor. The main department is on the floor below. Which one were you after?
Oh, I think it was the main department. I seem to have got very lost. Do you think you'd be able to show me?
Well, you can go back down the stairs you just came. Although if you use the stairway over to your right, that would get you directly in front of the office if you go down the stairs there. Would you like me to show you the way?
That would be very helpful. Thank you.
Excellent. Can I have a look roll, Georgina?
Yes, you can. Luck be a lady tonight. Oh, yes. Hello.
Okay.
Lovely. 31.
Excellent. You get the impression that this chap is going to walk down the corridor, but you get the impression the other chap is staying behind. You think maybe you could say something or do something to drag him out of the way as well.
Oh, okay. Have I got a bag?
Yeah, I guess so.
Or I might just drop my bag. I might just drop my bag in front of him, wait for him to pick it up, and then say, "Oh, thank you so much." Not take it from him, but carry on walking behind the other guy, so that hopefully he'll come with me to give me my bag back.
Yeah. Well, I'll let the look roll extend to that, and yes. So you within a couple of a minute or so, you have cleared them out the way of the doors and are leading them down the corridor.
Yeah.
Francis and Maxime can make a quick exit onto floor 5, I guess.
Yes, let's do that.
Okay. Okay, so you look at the signs on the doors and you can see there's a sign, 500 is this way. Luckily, it's just in the opposite direction to where Georgina's just gone. And you head off towards room 500. Georgina, you get shown to the stairs and given your bag back, and they kind of, doff their heads and hats and whatnot, and just say, yes, just down the stairs there, and you start to go down, turn your head and see them walking back to where they went. So it's your choice whether you want to carry on down or just,
I shall loiter. I shan't go all the way, but I'll sort of go out of their eye line a bit.
Yeah, well, they walk off, so they're not even looking in your direction now.
Oh, brilliant!
You've gone down the stairs.
Then I should just watch, and hopefully, hopefully Maxime.
Because it's a hotel kind of corridor that goes more or less all the way square around the floor, so you could, in theory, go the opposite direction and meet up with the others at room 500 if you wish.
Yeah.
Unless you don't want to go into the crazy magician's room.
No, I'll go into the crazy magician's room if we have managed to get rid of these guys from the doorway.
Okay,
we now know that we can sneak down the back stairs on our way out.
Yeah. You all more or less within a couple of minutes. Then you're all stood outside room 500, Krylov's room. The door is locked.
Of course it is.
Well, yes, but some of us have little things with us that might, depending on if the dice are behaving, let us in.
She'll just
Okay.
look the other way.
Yeah, I'm sure it's just stuck, he says,
Yeah.
jiggling the handle.
Yeah. I'll just keep my eyes
and
open.
that's a hard success on that as well.
Okay. You use locksmith, and the door opens. Clearly, you didn't want to knock before you tried that, but you've gone ahead and done that. That's fine. And the door creaks open, and you.
Or we can just sort of
look.
basically blame someone for not locking the door properly, you know.
Indeed, you look inside the room, and what you see is to be continued after this short tea break. And we will be back in 5 or 10 minutes or so, and see you after our little refreshment break. See you in a minute.
You are a wicked, wicked man, Mason.
And we're back. At the entrance to room 500 in the second house of Soviets, our intrepid investigators are about to enter the room told them by their strange contact, Gottman, is apparently Krylov's room. So, here we go. The door opens, you look within, and you see there is a low ceiling, unfinished walls, wooden floors, and no sight or sound of anyone.
Phew.
Few, yes, definite few. I was kind of expecting maybe a mummified corpse in the corner, so that's a definite relief.
Phew.
Well, don't speak too soon. This could easily be an illusion of some sort or some trick.
Would you like to go inside?
Carefully.
It's all got a bit Scooby-Doo, but yes, let's creep inside.
There is
Jinkies.
there is a thin pattern of dust on the floorboards as you walk inside, and see that inside, around the corner of the door, you see a single bed with a mattress, stripped of bedclothes, a bedside table and lamp, a desk and a chair, and 2 pictures on the wall, one of Vladimir Lenin and one of Stalin. There's a window which looks to maybe look onto a roof, think maybe of a neighbouring building. But otherwise, the room is pretty bare.
Oh, great.
I presume you shut the door behind you.
Yes,
Shut
be
the
the sensible
door.
thing to do, yes.
And let's look for this symbol and leg
Okay.
it sooner rather than later.
Bearing
Anywhere
in
you
mind, the
want
best
to-
way out might be out of the window.
Anywhere you want to focus your attention particularly?
Maxime's going to focus on the bed in case it's sort of hidden under the mattress or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. A symbol.
Is
Where
there
would
a
you put a symbol? A
desk or anything?
notebook.
There's a desk. There's a desk. Right. Well, you start, looking under the mattress, Maxime. There's definitely nothing under the mattress or under the bed. It's all pretty bare. The desk is clear on top. It's got a couple of drawers, but opening those, they're empty.
Take them out, have a look on the back of them, have a look in where they were.
Yeah, you do that. No sign of anything. It seems to be stripped clear.
Is the room completely bare then, pretty much, other than these?
I mean,
bits of
it seems to have been cleared. Yeah, it's been cleared. I mean, the only items other than a desk lamp, a chair, and let's say the only decoration really. I mean, the wall's got wallpaper on them, but the only 2 pictures in the entire room are the one of Lenin and one of Stalin.
Back to the pictures.
Yeah, pictures.
Pictures, okay. Well, they're fine portraits of 2 prominent Soviet leaders.
Are they hand painted or are they prints?
They look like they're prints. Yes, unfortunately.
Okay. And then let's have a look on the back of them pics.
You can have a peer behind. Okay, so which one do you want to look behind first?
Oh,
Lenin.
Lenin. Okay, good choice. Okay, so where are we? Right, so okay. So there are words in English written in a dark red, almost black paint that say,
Yes, paint.
Okay, let's get the pen out.
You will collect knowledge. You will amass knowledge. You will never refuse the chance to gain knowledge. You will never destroy a unique source of knowledge or keep it out of another's hands.
Are you going to put this up as a handout for us, so I don't have to try and
I
write
am
all
going to
that
put it
down?
up as a handout, and I'll even
Good
send
man.
it to you as well. But basically,
Thank you.
that's your lot.
But no symbol.
But no symbol
not behind the
behind
other one
Lenin, I'm
yet.
afraid. I would allow, though, an occult roll if anyone perchance has any skill.
Probably don't, but let's have a look.
No, it's not even worth
I
me
don't.
rolling.
Oh, I
I'm
do
afraid.
have
Oh, seriously, it's
little.
always worth you rolling.
I do have a small amount. However, absolutely not. No idea.
Yeah, definitely not.
Okay. Well, you have made a note of it, and unless anyone wants to spend a lot of luck, I guess.
Not that much luck.
Okay. Looking behind Mr. Stalin, good old Comrade Stalin's picture. There. Oh, hang on a minute. Something like a drawing there. What could that be?
Ooh.
And you find a picture that looks like this.
Ooh, that looks like a mystic prune.
Oh, it's wrong to want to just go, oh, isn't it cute?
Yes, very wrong. Do we have to roll
Ow.
for sanity?
No, you don't. No, it's nothing unusual.
It's a very
other than-
astrological symbol.
Well, it is,
Very
it could have a lot
deep.
of, could it be, and I'm going to say, if you want to make another occult roll, I'm going to allow you the chance to do that.
All right.
What the heck?
Come on.
Just for the comedy.
No.
I can't spend 20 luck. I can't do it.
I can't spend 73, look.
Oh my.
Okay.
Okay.
You did it, didn't
I
you?
am going to spend the luck because you will love this. I have 0.5. I have 5% in, and I have just rolled a 9. Therefore, I shall
Told you.
spend some luck.
Definitely.
It's always worth rolling because you never know.
Yeah. Is it worth me spending a bit more luck and having a hard success?
No, it isn't.
Okay. All right. I'll just spend the 5 points then, and
Okay.
Oh, you only need to spend 4 if you've got 9. If you've
Oh,
rolled
yeah.
9.
maths is not my strong point. You do know this, right?
The looking at that phrase and then looking at the symbol, you kind of say, you do probably say, oh, it looks a bit like a D thing, doesn't it? And then it flashes in your mind. That is a D thing. I've seen that I'm sure I've seen that in a book about D. I was looking at, years ago at some art thing or whatever.
Looking at his mystic stuff in the British Museum. Wonderful place to go and sketch.
There you go. So that just kind of filters back into your head that I'm sure that's something from a D notebook or grimoire or something like that.
Well, you're our resident artist, Georgina. If you grab a copy of that, and then let's get out of here.
So you can easily, obviously, sketch a copy of that. You've already taken a note of the writing on the other wall. That's all good. But other than that, unless you can think of anything else you want to do in the room, you seem to have exhausted
what we came
yourselves.
for. Let's put the pictures back just in case.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we might want to just scrub over the floor to hide the fact that we've actually been walking around
that
in
dust
here
on the floor.
because of the dust.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we'll just sweep the floor.
Yeah, just sweep it with my shoe and Just
Yeah.
spread it across a bit.
Okay,
Does
you
it
kind of
look
make
worse now?
just kind of like
It
gonna
looks
get
like
my
people
hanky.
came in the room and then
someone's been in here.
pretended.
It's
I'm gonna
not
get my
exactly
hanky and just give it a
invisible mend, as it were.
You get the hanky out and give it a good swipe all over the place, just so that it doesn't look quite so.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Well, you've done that. You've given it your best shot. I'm sure nobody would ever tell that someone's been in this room based on that. So, what do you want to do? Do you want to just exit through the door and
Yes,
whatnot?
let's
Let's beat a hasty retreat.
beat a hasty retreat down the quiet staircase.
Yeah, backstairs.
Yeah.
Okay. As you all come out the door and then close it behind you, just at that point, two quite large men in clearly kind of Soviet uniforms appear at the end, turn the corner into the end of the corridor. They see you, and you hear them hear one shout, not loudly but sharply, come here in Russian, and beckons you over. What do you
I
do?
was going to pretend we couldn't understand him, but that kind of blows that, doesn't it?
Mm.
Let's go. Is the door actually shut and locked yet?
You shut it behind you, but clearly,
Have they
it's
seen us coming out?
You don't know. It's
Yes.
50-50. They could have seen you. They may not have done. They're about 60 feet away. It's a big building. They're down the end of the corridor, but they've seen you coming out of a room potentially.
It's okay. Krylov signed our visas. We can always wave those in front of them and say we were here to see him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's go. Yeah.
As you mentally say that before you take the action.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell them.
I will say you can make a spot hidden roll. The three of you.
Oh yeah.
Extreme success.
Okay.
Oh dear, no.
As they turn, you can clearly see they have holstered sidearms. Just so you know.
Well, I have a holstered sword stick.
Okay, so I
have no idea that they're packing, therefore I shall stroll over to them with a lovely smile.
Okay.
And
they
we
carry on
couldn't possibly let the
speaking
young lady walk into danger on her own.
No.
They speak in Russian, which you're all more or less okay with, aren't you now, I think?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but I'll pretend I only understand half of it.
Okay. They say, what are you doing on this floor? Who are you? What are you doing on this floor?
I shall say, I shall get out my visa, point to Krylov's name and go, Mr. Krylov.
They look at each other and you see some cogs wearing in their heads. You're not quite sure what they're thinking, but I will allow you a persuade roll or a fast talk roll.
I'm pretending
Georgina.
I don't understand Russian, so one of you might want to go for that.
Okay.
Okay. Well, my fast talk is non-existent. My persuade ain't great. Maxime, I think this one might be down to you.
Yes, but charming. It's going to have to be charming because the others I'm terrible at.
It's going to need to be a hard. It's going to need to be a hard success for charm because these are two burly blokes who charm doesn't normally,
Yeah. No, I kind of very sort of go softly. It just doesn't work with these brutish brutes.
They're like, they like sort of shake their heads and hold the visa up, look at the visa and give it back to you and say, no, you're. What is your business in here?
Okay, I'm going to try a fast talk then. Which I made but not. It's just an ordinary pass.
Okay.
So
I'm going to oppose that.
Okay.
I'm going to oppose that with their psychology, just because they are clearly suspicious.
Yeah.
Okay, you made a regular.
Yeah.
Okay. They're kind of. You can see that. Yeah, you need to do more. Basically, they're not quite buying it. They're kind of, they're kind of starting to talk about, where are your, where are your papers? You need to come with us. You're not supposed. Your foreigners aren't supposed to be on this floor, kind of thing.
Whip out the hip flask and take a quick swig and offer them a drink while putting on my most long-suffering face.
Okay. Do you say anything with that?
No, I'm just trying to do the world weary. Yeah, we're all in this together kind of thing. Do you fancy a drink, mate? Just totally through the face, not actually.
Okay.
Maybe Maxime will interject with a bit of verbal to kind of help with that as well.
Okay, so what I'm going to say, you can make, charm, fast talk, persuade. I mean, clearly none of you have gone down the intimidate route. But if you want to try this roll, this is a push roll.
Okay.
Oh God.
So yeah. I get out my own visa as well. I get out my own visa. I suggest Francis get his out, and
yes,
I say to them, "Look, gentlemen, we've come a very long way. There's obviously been some sort of mix-up here. We were expecting Krylov to be here. We were sent straight up, but he obviously isn't, and we just went in thinking he'd be inside, and we're just as confused as you are."
They say, "Very well. You will need to come with us. We need to just make a record of your visas. Should there be any questions later, I'm sure what you're saying is all correct. But could you tell me, how did you get into Mr. Krylov's room? Do you have a key?"
Well, it wasn't.
No, but
it was just the door was stuck.
Right. Well, you better come with us. Come with us and let us take your details. Should there be any questions later, and they kind of gesture you to walk in front of them, back down to the second floor.
We needed like a secret password, which we don't have. But there's no harm in giving them our details, is there?
Well, it's not like Krylov doesn't know them.
Well, exactly.
Exactly. He knows we're there. We didn't get shot.
The main downside is you spend the next hour waiting around for some other officious person to basically take your visas, go into a room with them, copy them or do something with them, and then an hour later reappear, hands you to them with neither a thank you or whatever, and just walks off, leaving you kind of wondering, do we have to stay here longer? And eventually, somebody will come by that you kind of, yes, please, you can leave now. Please leave. And you kind of get released.
Well, that's good. I mean, if anything, they'll be in more trouble for leaving his room open.
You'd hope
Absolutely.
So.
Fingers crossed.
Okay. Right. So what you get out the second house of Soviets quick, sharpish thereafter, I imagine. And you can then.
Yes, we have an experimental play to get to.
Well, you've got
the Kremlin first.
You spent the morning missing out on Lenin, but you can go.
We didn't. We saw his picture.
Well, you saw his picture, but you can then you can visit the Kremlin in the afternoon if you wish, and then get into experimental theatre in the evening for a good part.
We were going to go and pop in on Mrs. Palliser.
You were. Do you want to?
Well, I think I'll go and see her this evening. I think we need to do some standard tourist things for this afternoon, just to sort of.
Okay.
Yeah, just in case. And then
If you-
this
Okay.
evening, while you lot are doing experimental theatre, I might go and see Mrs. Palliser.
All right.
That seems reasonable.
Okay. Well, the Kremlin is was founded here in Moscow in 1147. It's huge. It's like a city within a city. 100 churches and 1,000 bell towers, walls, fortifications, ceremonial halls, weathered brick reconstructed by Italian architects in the 1600s. St. Basil's church with the enameled domes and all that good stuff. And but obviously Popov at this point launches in with in 1917 the brave red troops entered the Kremlin and the last stronghold of the enemies of the people. From the very beginning of the beginning of Russian history, it was been the scene of important political events. Here, ancient and modern history are interwoven and sharply contrasted. And you get to see the Ivan the Great's bell tower on Cathedral Square, the 15th century Assumption Cathedral, the broken 220-ton Tsar's Bell, and the Hall of Facets. And it's quite an interesting afternoon. There's a lot of history, there's a lot to see, and, it certainly is a nice breather from being chased around by party officials, certainly. So all good. At which point, as the afternoon draws to a close, you are guided back to the hotel to freshen up, have some dinner before the big event tonight.
Okay. Just
find
check on
Laskin.
Eleanor, make sure she's still, in
Yes,
one
yeah.
piece.
Doing okay. And Sophia, she's kind of, having a good chat with Sophia, keeping one another company. Laskin appears to Francis and says, I met up with that Oksana girl at lunchtime, like you asked, but your friend Georgina wasn't there at all. We waited.
Yes, there was a bit of a mix-up there. Yes, we didn't get a chance to tell you, but it turns out Krylov wasn't actually in Moscow. So we just went on the tour. But sorry, we didn't manage to find you. We got lost in the crowd, and we didn't manage to get a message back to you before. Obviously, you
Yes.
came back to you. Sorry about that.
Never mind. He is looking a little dubious at you. But could you make a luck roll, please?
Please.
Come on, dice.
Please make it.
Oh yes, that's a 16. So what's my current luck?
Well, it's almost as
yeah,
if
that's a hard.
Your wishes came true, because he then goes on to say what a charming person Oksana is, and how they talked all after dinner, and he had to how she accompanied him in the afternoon back to Red Square, and although you didn't see him at the Kremlin, they were there and seemed to be getting on like a house on fire. And he said that she said she's going to stay in Moscow another couple of days until we have to return to Leningrad, and yes, it was quite fortunate. I just wanted to thank you for introducing me.
Well, you're very welcome. I mean, I'm terribly sorry that the plans changed and we didn't actually manage to find you to let you know. But I'm glad something nice came out of it.
As am I.
Straight face.
Very good, very good. When are you going to go and see Weston?
Oh, we haven't slotted that in.
No,
probably
he
do
knew
that
you were going to see.
Yeah,
he knew you were going to go and see Nadezhda yesterday, and I guess he's been waiting all day to see how that went. I guess.
Yeah.
Could we maybe visit first thing in the morning? Breakfast?
How long is it till we get to the theatre?
Or you can do it after the theatre.
Well, the theatre's not till about 8 o'clock. I mean, it's like 5 o'clock at the minute,
Oh, so we could pop round and just say hello and give him some info and see how
I mean,
he's
Yeah.
it's only on,
Yes.
another floor from you. It's not like it's like less than
Yeah.
5 minutes to his room kind of thing if you want to do that.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's do that.
Okay. Okay, so I'm just checking your page numbers. Okay, so right, okay. He is in the room. He bids you in quickly, kind of thing. Shuts the door and says, "So, I was hoping to see you earlier, but clearly you've been busy, and which is absolutely fine. But did you get to see Mrs. Palliser yesterday? I think you were heading off there, weren't you?"
Yes, held up a little bit, but yes, we did manage to see her.
Go on.
Took a
Yes.
well,
Go on.
I was going to say
yeah,
it
so-
took a little bit of negotiation, but we have managed to get some information for you.
Oh, very good, very good. He gets his notepad out. So what's the status of things? How is she? What's the relationship with John Palliser like?
And how are the papers for Sophie and Oksana coming along?
Yes. Yeah, we can go deal with that just after you tell me about the Desert, of course. Yes, carry on.
We'd quite like to see them first.
I see. He kind of looks at you and realizes this isn't your priority; it's his, and kind of starts from it. Right, okay. I see. Okay. Well, let me tell you what the situation is now. I can certainly I can certainly arrange travel documentation for Sophia and Oksana as you requested. What I cannot do at this time is provide papers for exiting the country, as that is effectively defection, and we at this point in time there's nobody in the service who knows the case well enough and the people concerned well enough to be able to take that risk. What with the current political climate between Britain and Russia, we are just easing diplomatic tensions, and now would not be a good time to be found issuing defection papers for two of its citizens. However, I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying I cannot get the official paperwork to you. I will think more on it, and there may be another way, shall I say, that we could go. But I will need to do some more digging on it.
One of them, Sophia, indirectly is being requested by my mother to come and meet her again.
Yes, but that wouldn't really carry any real weight with the Soviet regime.
My mother is part Russian.
Yes, but probably classed as a white Russian rather than a Soviet. And as I say, the Soviets don't really take too kindly into those that have already left the country having any power over those within the country. It is not something that can be done. We cannot, I'm basically telling you, we cannot do it through official channels. It will not. With the best will in the world, I cannot make this happen.
Yeah, I understood.
I'm sure you understand.
Understood. Yes.
thank you very
Right.
much for organising the travel papers. That is a wonderful first step.
Yes.
And let us. We can now show you some of the information that we have managed to get from Mrs. Palliser.
Very good. Very good.
I'm
Please
sure
do go on.
more information may be forthcoming later. I'll get out the letter that she gave me and give it to Maxime to pass on.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. He
yes.
has a read the letter. Yeah.
To answer your first question, her relationship appears to be very good, which is interesting given the letters that we'd seen previously. He seemed to come across as very brusque with her.
Right. Do you know why she wrote to you? Did she answer that question?
She claims she didn't write to us.
She didn't write
It's
to you.
not her handwriting.
She didn't know who we were.
That is interesting. So, who did?
That we don't know.
She didn't have any ideas on that?
She had nothing to suggest. As
She'd
to
never seen a
why
letter
they may be
before.
written by.
Has she had any visitors, unexpected strangers, government that she mentioned?
Yes.
No.
She.
Oh, well.
No,
yes.
there has been
Right,
some
so-
activity that she told us about.
Activity,
There've been
yes.
some. Right. So, if could you elaborate on that, perhaps? I am on your side. He reminds you.
Yes,
Yeah,
I know,
right.
but she didn't really reveal much herself because these people that sort of came to the building, they didn't really do anything with her direct, but she did mention that there were more of these people coming, more of these officials coming to check on things.
So you think so? GPU checking in on her,
Yes.
perhaps?
Well,
you'd say that, yes. Did you mention OGPU out of interest?
I can't remember.
Yes, she did.
Thought she did.
She did. Out of character, yes, she did.
She did.
Now,
Okay.
whether we tell them that, I don't know.
And in character, are you telling him that or not? Confirming that or not?
Well, she
I'm
didn't
going to go
say
for the-
specifically.
So you're not then. Okay.
Well, I mean, I did. Officials are they all OGPU, or are there other officials in Moscow that?
Well, there are other officials, but I mean, would normally fall in the remit of the OGPU to, if they were looking into an individual, they would be the ones to do the initial.
The way she
encounter.
was talking, it sounded like perhaps they had visited a neighbor of hers, so she has seen them appear, but not with her.
So they haven't directly contacted Nadezhda, and nothing in regard to her husband.
If they have, she didn't tell us.
Okay, that's a shame. It would be good to know if that had been the case, but let's just presume they haven't then in that case, which is good. That's the eye is not on them, shall we say.
It certainly seemed that Mr. Palliser was not enjoying his time in the camp.
And you show him the letter, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so he reads to the letter, and he says, I recognize this name.
What, Frankel?
Who was it?
Well, the name in the letter is Frankel.
Yeah, Frankel. Yes, I believe that's Naftali Frankel. I think he was a prisoner at the Sullivan camp of special significance in the far north near the White Sea. The name is on our radar, so to speak. It's a factory, well, model prison, otherwise known as a factory, we'd call it. Terrible place. We understand that Fenkel was released, and subsequently he has risen in the ranks of the party, you see. His name has come up in using the prisons as a source of labour. And so this seems to join our hypothesis and the rumours that the Soviets are using slave labour on the construction of the canal as we first thought. This does point towards that. The prisoners, unpaid labourers on roads, factories, logging, and now, as we say, we think on the canal. If Frenkel or his men are overseeing the work on the canal, then it's almost certainly will be utilising prison labour. And that seems to be borne out by Pallas's comments in this letter. This is very important. I can't tell you how well you've done with this. This is marvellous. Well, absolutely significant. He's very overcome with joy that you've produced something useful.
You're welcome.
Good.
This is very good. Did Nadezhda say when she received this letter?
Actually, no, she didn't.
No.
Not that I recall. I don't think. Did she?
No, I don't remember
think so.
saying.
I want
No.
to say October, but I can't remember out of character.
No, I
And
don't.
out
think
of character,
she
the
said-
OGPU round came round in October. I honestly don't know when she got the letter.
Yeah, no, I'm just double checking.
I'd imagine fairly recently. Kitty.
Yeah. No, she. I don't think you asked her, so she didn't say. So, so you don't really know. So that's fine. He does say, "Can I keep this? This is useful evidence."
Yes.
Thank you. Now, is there anything else do you need to share with me? Is there anything else that's come up, or anything else I need to know? Would be useful. Any help I can give you?
I really don't think telling you about the insane psychotic dead husband is really going to be particularly useful at this point.
No.
I don't think that's really helpful.
No.
If you could, perhaps give us some pointers as to how Sophia might make her way out of the country alongside Oksana, that would be of great benefit to us. But we will leave that one with you.
Well, he kind of pauses for a moment and says, "Well, there is something I need to ask of you. One further thing that will that is an extension of what we talked about originally. In fact, now you bought this, and it's massively important. But what we need to do is get you to Lake Onega near the canal. You could then go and meet Palliser himself, but I need roughly I need a few hours, probably about 12 or so, to just get all this in place for you. One of the things I want you to ask Palliser, apart from the gathering of evidence and whatever he can provide in support of that, is I want you to ask if Palliser will leave with you, if you will take him out of the country. If you do this, you would be able to take Sophia and Oksana with you on the same route, because again, we cannot use official channels to extricate Mr. Palliser from Russia at this time. It would have to be covertly, and if we're using a covert channel to remove him, then it would carry a little more risk, but you could take your companions with you. Do you see what I mean?
I do indeed.
It's your condition for us going into the belly of the beast, Mr. Weston.
Well, think of it as an opportunity not only for yourselves and your friends, but for the British Empire.
I
what
can
if
say
we-
Mr. Palliser is unlikely to leave without his wife.
Well, that may be the case. From the letter, it seems to suggest he's asking her to visit him. Do you have any idea whether that is her intention to do that?
We have asked her, and she said firmly that she did not feel she could at this time. Her feelings may have changed. We could perhaps visit tomorrow and see.
That might be wise. If I'm thinking though, if she doesn't visit, if she feels she's unable, you turning up in her place might just be the jolt that Palliser needs to come back on side, shall I say?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can.
Perhaps.
There's one other thing I meant to ask is, do you think that do you know if Nadezhda and John Palliser are actually married to one another?
Well, she certainly seems to think they are. Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And did you see
Yes.
any paperwork or the license?
Mm,
Can't really go into a lady's house and start demanding to see a marriage license, can you?
Well, I'm just covering the bases, but from her
She-
point of view, yes. Then okay, well that's useful to know.
She called him husband. What more do you want?
She seemed a very
that helps.
honourable lady.
Mhm.
Well, I'm sure it is all above board in the mind of the Soviets. Certainly, yes. He just scribbles a note down. So let me take this conversation upstairs, so to speak. Give me a few hours to just put a few things in place and an itinerary for your little excursion northwards, and I will have everything ready for you. If you could come back to me, where are we now? Mid-morning tomorrow, then I will hopefully have everything you need. I would point out it may be useful if you don't already have warm clothing, warm boots and coats to avail yourselves of these. The climes where you are headed are, it's cold in Moscow, but it isn't as cold as where you're going.
Yes. I mean, I
Duly
did.
noted.
I did pack some warm stuff, but I think I might go and get some warmer stuff.
Even warmer.
And just lastly, before you are on your way, just remember, don't ever let on that we've met. If the embassy needs to jump in and get you out of a pickle at any stage, it's important we could say that you're not part of any plan and it was an honest mistake on your part. We can then do all the apologizing for you, but just don't mention me or the service.
Wouldn't dream of it.
And with that, he invites you to go away.
Oh, what have we gotten ourselves into?
You were right in a mess.
I think I
expected
need a
it, to be
drink in the
honest.
bar before experimental theatre.
Yes, please.
Okay, so you have a drink before dinner, then probably another drink after dinner before you head off to the experimental theatre.
Some of us
giving
going
you-
to see Mrs. Palliser to make sure she's all right.
Oh, ample opportunity to discuss what you want to do or whatever else you need before you split up, I guess.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I think it was good that we didn't tell him that we already have something from her to give to her husband.
Mm.
Yeah. Do you think if the weirdy husband has not, the ex-husband, the former husband hasn't come back, do you think she might come with us to visit him?
She might do. I mean, that's one of the things we need to go and ask her. But I will assure her that we're still quite happy to deliver that crucifix for her if she still doesn't feel able to go.
The other
That's
thing,
Again, I'm not
true.
going to tell her
is that
too much.
he still has a wife in England, of course.
Slight
He
problem.
certainly does.
Which I don't know if would he want to take her with him back to England?
Who knows?
Awkward much?
Yeah. I'm sure if he means that much to the surface, they could sort all of that out.
Would you one of you like to make an idea roll at this point?
Okay. Let's have somebody with a better int might want to do that.
It doesn't matter. I still did terribly. I've got a lot of 90s.
Yay! I have
As
an excellent idea.
As you saying this last few things, the penny drops that if you're potentially getting John Palliser, Oksana, who knows, certainly Sophia out of the country illegally, that means you'll be going out illegally. That means it's quite risky. So having John Palliser's Russian wife with him, without knowing whether he wants her to be there or whether she wants to leave Russia, might create complications unforeseen at a border or the like.
Right.
Yes. Well, I'm still going to go check on her.
Yeah.
Just letting you know. That's what
but I might not mention anything else.
Yes. Maybe just check on her, but don't mention anything else first.
Yes, that. Definitely that.
Okay. Right. Okay, so the evening continues. Francis disappears off to catch the train to see Nadezhda, while Georgina and Maxime have an amazing evening, is all I can tell you. It is, let's just say, right, State Experimental Theatre and the unusual production of The Opera of the Poor by the playwright Alexander Taryov's Chamber Theatre Group, which moves away from naturalism. It's anti-realist with exaggerated gestures, largely silent, sometimes comedic, although the laughter is a little thin in the audience. And
pantomime, you mean? Right.
But nevertheless, ends in this kind of total silence as the audience sits stunned. And then to rapturous applause, because people will just clap because they don't know what they just seen, but it must be good. So they've clapped a lot, and lots of cheers because it's very right on. And there's
that's exactly what I shall say about it to Francis later.
And he's not going to believe a word you say.
Right. Do any of you have art and craft theatre?
No, but I do have film.
I have opera, ballet, and classical music.
Right. I'm going to give you the option. I'm going to give the option. You can add 5 points to one of those art and craft skills, or you were so taken by it, you can add art and craft theatre as a new skill at 5%. It's entirely your choice. That's what you get for experimental theatre, pushing the boundaries. You learn something.
I'll add to my ballet.
I think I'm gonna.
I learned that the Emperor's New Clothes was very accurate.
I'm going to go for theatre. I'm going to go for theatre. Why not?
Well, why not? Meanwhile, okay, so you head back to Nadezhda's shared house, and
keeping a careful eye out, obviously.
You kind of pretty much just kind of walk in and go straight upstairs to a room. Is that the plan? Or
what? Keeping a careful eye out to make sure that certain obvious OGPU people aren't hanging around.
Yeah. Well, give me a spot hidden on that one.
Yep, that's a normal success. Yeah, that's just a normal success, but I am prepared to spend a couple of points of luck if I need to make it a hard one.
Okay, you make success. Okay, so you do think you are being followed as you make your way to the train from the hotel.
I attempt to lose them then.
Give me a stealth combined with navigate.
Oh God, this is going to be bad on all sorts of levels.
Unless you can come up with a different. I'm just assuming you're trying to lose them in the Russian streets you're familiar with. But if you want to go a different way, then that's fine. Think of another cunning tactic to use.
Oh, what the heck? Let's just go for it. Come on, dice, be nice to me. Yes! 0-5, which is a hard
Excellent.
success for the navigate, and 1 point off an extreme success for the stealth.
Well, either is good enough. Have a tick in both, you do manage to lose them. You've been this way before. You're not that familiar with it, but you're familiar enough with the area around the hotel to take a side street and double back on yourself, and apparently lose your tail. So that's pretty good. You pop on the train, feeling pretty confident you're now not being followed. As I say, you get to Modesta's place, and you're outside her door, knocking on it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Can I have a listen first, just to see if I can hear her being harangued by the? Oh, my listen's rubbish, but let's give it a try. Oh my God, that's a 0-3. Yes, that would be an extreme listen success. Those good dice, aren't you?
You hear a male grunt, and you hear what you think is Nadezda's voice relatively quietly saying, "I wish you would just leave," in Russian.
Oh God, he's still there. I'm going to knock very loudly.
It all goes very quiet, and Nadezda answers the door and is somewhat surprised to see you there. And she kind of looks back in the room and doesn't really open the door and says, "Now is not a good time."
I understand. Just wanted to see how you were doing. I take it your visitor has returned.
Yes, but such is the cross I bear these days.
Indeed.
She seems pretty stoic, actually. She's not upset, but she seems pretty stoic about it at this point in time. Perhaps she might have been, you might detect the trace of maybe have been crying, early today, perhaps when he reappeared, but she seems to have, moved past that into stoicism.
Right. In that case, I will bid you good evening, Mrs. Palliser. And
she says fine. She says, I ask you if there is a way that you can undo that which has been done. I implore you to take that action. And she kind of shuts the door.
Yeah. And go back to the hotel.
Okay. Right, back to the hotel with all of you. It is late evening, late night. Is anyone doing anything before retiring?
I was hoping.
I should be telling Francis all about the exciting theatrical production.
I will have a large vodka.
I was hoping to have a private word with Georgina, either at the theatre or possibly later on after Francis is retired from boredom.
You have ample opportunity to do that, so yeah.
Okay. So Maxime is looking very worried, embarrassed, reluctant to really say what's on his mind, but he buys you a drink and he sort of takes a few deep breaths and says, I I feel like you might be able to understand, Georgina, as a woman for one thing, but also you seem like a very open-minded person with
I like
with
to
your
think
art.
so.
And yes, you know the business with Oksana and all that, and I wasn't ever into her at all, but a lot's been playing on my mind with my wife. And have you seen Mark? Sorry, Robert, lately? Has he come to you?
I haven't. No. The last time I saw him was when we all saw him. He's not appeared since.
It's the same for Ed. I'm missing him more and more. And oh God, this is something that I shouldn't really be saying. It seems so wrong and abnormal even. But before he died, he sent me letters. Not just a friendship, you understand, but it's like you love Robert, right? You love him very much.
Very much, passionately.
Well, to start with, it wasn't really there for me, but certainly for Ed, he viewed me as a very close friend, and I really feel very confused at the moment, Georgina, about Joan, and she's my wife, but it's never been quite right. You do?
I do. As you say, I have many friends in the artistic community. Indeed, some of my Bloomsbury friends live what much of society consider to be a very shocking lifestyle. But passionate friendships are passionate friendships, and you cannot deny what your heart feels, no matter who you may feel it for.
True. It is a little bit more difficult, though, considering Ed's been dead for over 10 years.
That is true. But acknowledging
you...
your feelings may help.
Where are you having this conversation, just out of interest? What did you decide on? Is it at the theatre or in a hotel?
Somewhere very private. So either at the theatre in a box, maybe if I bought a box, or in our room at the hotel. So really out of the way and private.
So not somewhere we're going to get overheard.
Okay, so let's say the most private place is going to be the hotel room. So
okay,
so we go with that. Okay, so this is when you've got back from the theatre, yeah? Just before you kind of turn in, more or less, yeah? Okay. Yeah. While you're having this conversation at this point, a knock on the door.
Oh, who's that?
I don't know. Are you expecting anyone?
No, unless it's Francis. Or maybe it's Eleanor. She's finally
recovered from her dreadful hangover.
The poor soul. Let me answer the door.
Okay, at the door is Edward. Behind him is another chap.
We were just talking about you. Who is this?
This is Robert.
Is it my Robert?
Yeah, you catch the.
I can hear his voice.
Yeah. Can we come in?
Yes, yes, you can.
and as obviously Edward walks in, he kind of knows who you are, but sees Maxime, and obviously Robert sees Maxime, and Robert sees Georgina and is a little surprised, and you can tell that he wasn't necessarily expecting to see you in here, but he sees you and walks over and embraces you, as does Edward with Maxime. And we came to talk to you. I bought Robert, who I've come to know, but Robert already knows this person as well.
How do you do, Edward? My name's Georgina. I'm Robert's fiancée.
Ah, yes, Robert mentioned you. Yes, so you are the Georgina he mentioned. I see. Very good, very good. Well, we are all. This is a wonderful timing. Then we're all together.
Well, there's Francis and his uncle as well.
Stunned silence.
Slightly stunned silence.
Not everybody's here, Ed. Only half of us.
But we are. Well, we're here. Me and you and Georgina and Robert. That you have other friends. I know, but I don't know them as well. But I'm so pleased to make Georgina's acquaintance, and this and we came to talk to you. Robert thought it would be a good idea that, and I mentioned that I knew you, and he thought you would be a good person to speak to. But and Robert kind of chimed in, yes, and of course I was going to talk to Georgina anyway, but yes, but we can kill two birds with one stone now, can't we? So we're all here together. This is wonderful.
Let me get a drink for you.
Maybe you could pour us all one, Maxime. Thank you very much. I'm going to try really hard to kind of put everyone at their ease, and it's all a bit weird.
Yeah, if you're watching him, he pours one drink and takes it himself, and then pours out 4 others.
Now, there's something. There's something in the water, isn't there?
You're not talking about the water that comes out of the taps, are you?
No, we're talking about
the lake.
Yes, the lake. The
lake.
lake. There's something in the water, or there will be.
Or there will be.
Is that where Huber comes out?
I've heard something like that name. That something to do with whoever that is, whatever that is. Yes, it's something. They'll be there. You have to. You understand. You have to go. This is what we wanted to tell you. You have to go. You have to go to the lake.
We already have plans. Is that where we need to be? We have someone working on travel papers for us. We should be there within 2 days.
That's very good. That's very good. Yes, you must get there, and then you can call him, and we can be together. Yes, this is Edward talking. Robert is looking at you, Georgina, and just very gently shaking his head.
I'll give him that understanding look.
He is crying at the same time, but he is just. And Edward sort of turns to Robert, and he just sort of snaps into kind of, yes, that's what you should do, kind of, giving mixed messages. But clearly, Georgina, he's sort of saying the opposite to whatever Robert is.
Maxime actually says at that point to Georgina and Robert, "Would you excuse us for a moment?"
Of course.
And actually take Edward outside the corridor.
Yeah.
And say, Ed, I understand what you want to do, and this is a very painful decision for me, all right?
Well, I understand. I'm just trying to help.
I know, and
Difficult for all of us.
Of course I want you back. I feel like this is my fault that I wasn't there for you. I wasn't helping you. I didn't understand. I didn't see, but there's talk of evil people coming back along with you, evil people who are dead, and this has been tearing my mind apart for the past few days.
But you understand how important it is for me, for us to make this real, to make this permanent. You understand, don't you?
Do you mean you not being dead, or us?
Well, me, you're not dead. It's just me. And you know, Georgina would have her fiance back. Surely that can't be a bad thing.
Well, no, it's not. But think of everybody else. You know, there are people. You know, I think of war criminals and dictators and murderers.
Well, I don't like the way your mind's going. I don't like the way your mind's going, Edward. Why are you speaking of such things? It's like you don't want it to happen or something.
Of course, I want it to bloody happen.
I think you're just coming up with excuses now. I'm shocked. I thought you wanted this. I thought you wanted me back in your life.
I do, Edward. I do.
All you've got to do is go to the lake. If you go to the lake and you can call him to the lake, and then it will make it real. It will make it permanent.
He will bring back people who will destroy us.
Let them destroy everything else, but they won't destroy us, will they? It'll all be fine. It's just silliness. This is all just silly. And he starts getting really kind of not only upset, but angry. And you see that kind of streak you rarely saw in him, but occasionally would come out that kind of like, you know, belligerence, kind of like it was his way or nobody else's, which you say you rarely saw, but it's kind of coming out now, maybe amplified because of the strangeness or whatever. But
Edward, if anybody knew about how we felt about each other, we'd be killed.
Well, damn them all. Damn them all. I mean, I'm coming back from the dead. Do you think that's really important now? Do you think that's really what I, you know, what's on my mind? I've got more important things to think about, man. Unbelievable. Of course I want to be with you, but I you know, I have to be here to do that. One step at a time, and now you don't even want me back. I don't believe it. And he starts to sort of huff and puff and do a bit of pacing. And as you kind of like, you know, roll your eyes or whatever it is while you're trying to compose yourself and think of what to say, you kind of, you know, look away for a second and you look and he's gone.
He's gone. I actually pound both fists on the wall, probably. My own room, so you hear this boom.
Yeah. Meanwhile, just while that was going on, Georgina and Robert, he just confirms with you that you know that Maxime's friend, he doesn't yet understand. He's thinking only for himself. You know, we mustn't let this happen. You cannot call this Huber, whatever it is, to the lake. If once he's there, that will be his new home.
I understand.
Can't be allowed. But
we think we may have a way to keep him out.
Well, that is good. I have a name of someone. I have a name for you. There's a Russian woman called Anna, but she isn't like us. She's like you. But sometimes she seems to be able to talk to us, or she's unlike anything else we've seen. She's kind of like a dream.
Do you know where she lives? Where she comes from?
She's near the lake, is all I know. But she said she can help, and she told me to. I spoke to her, and she said, well, I said that you were coming, and she said for me to tell you that she was there.
We can look for her. If she can give us some assistance, that would be good. It's hard.
Yes.
Every time I see you, I think it will be the last time, and I know we're doing the right thing, but that doesn't make it easy, Robert.
Well, you know, I feel the same, and but I think we're doing the right thing. And I think this would be the right ending. But I'm sure I will see you again. Nothing will happen until the lake, until you act. I'm sure there will be time again to see you and for what. And around that time you hear Maxime kind of banging on the walls, and you kind of turn, and then he's gone, and you look back.
Oh dear, poor Maxime.
You start hearing a sobbing outside.
I'll open the door and come out and just put a hand on your shoulder in that sort of manly way, without saying anything, but just kind of bring you back into your room so you're not crying in the corridor.
He's only thinking about himself. He doesn't see, but he thinks I'm turning him away.
I know.
Maybe it's for the best. Maybe it's a sign that these feelings are wrong anyway. And what of my marriage?
And
I
with
don't
that,
think.
carry on. I thought you were stopping. Sorry.
I don't think there is any way that this will end well with everyone coming back and living in this world with us. Sadly. But if you get the chance to tell Edward that you care about him, I suggest you do while you still have time.
I tried to, but he didn't listen. So maybe I will have another chance. Who knows?
I'm sure we will. I shall pour us both a stiff drink.
Indeed, you knock down a stiff drink, and then you probably retire. Maxime has a troubled night, no doubt, and probably Georgina too, to be honest. It's only probably Eleanor and Francis who sleep soundly tonight in that way. However, come morning, it is the 7th of November. It's all go in Moscow. The celebration of the revolution is massive, spilling into the hotel, onto the streets, all heading towards Red Square, and all the so on and so on and so on. And even, breakfast this morning, there's, the hotel has gone to town, creating kind of fancy kind of breakfast celebration things, little paper kind of balloons and all sorts of stuff going on. It's all very lovely. And you can hear military parades already starting outside, echoing down the streets as bands are playing and people march and gather and all the rest of it. And you have your meeting around lunchtime with Weston. But if you want to spend the morning dancing in Red Square, then you can certainly do that.
I think it's not like any shop's going to be open for us to go get those lovely warm clothes. So let's go dancing.
Yes.
Certainly. You could join in the party vibe, the Soviet party vibe for the morning. and you know, and it's genuinely having a good time. It's genuinely fascinating, interesting, entertaining, a bit of fun, tinged with a bit of look at all those soldiers. Oh my god, etc. etc. You know, the crowd roars at various party officials who, you know, appear on balconies and wave and all that kind of thing. But it's, you know, it's genuinely a good morning in that regard. Obviously, Eleanor is keen to get out with you and get some fresh air after being cooped up, and even Sophia is out and about with you. You know, blends in with the crowds, not a problem, and has her travel papers anyway, so is all sorted now. And Laskin, you see, you know, out the periphery with Oksana,
Oh, hello.
pointing at things and dancing.
Told you.
I shall give Francis a look, and Francis will look smug.
Yes, and Oksana seems quite happy from what you gather, but doesn't really come anywhere near you at this point in time. But you know, she seems happy enough where she is.
Like me.
Keeping well away from Maxime at the minute.
Yeah.
And eventually, you know, drawing toward lunchtime, you think, well, you know, my feet are getting a little cold now. I will, you know, head back to the hotel for the appointment with Weston, and there we go. So Weston is very happy to see you and says, I have it all mapped out, nothing to worry about. The only thing you've got to do, you have to leave tonight. And with that, we'll end there.
How's a man supposed to go get warm clothes if we're on a holiday?
Well, all these and other questions too will be answered next time on The Dead Within.
Concierge. That's what concierge is for.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for playing. We'll see you all next week for the reveal of Weston's fantastic plan. See you again soon. Bye-bye for now.
Night. Bye-bye.